How difficult is learning English? This is the truth. Most people who try to learn English at some point in their lives will never learn English. I'm talking about hundreds, literally hundreds of millions of people worldwide from different continents, different cultures, who have had English classes at some point, usually for years, and they still don't understand the language and they don't speak it at all. Or they speak just enough to say a couple of sentences. That's it. They're definitely not fluent. So, how hard is English really? And the truth is, not very hard if you do it right. The problem is that the way they teach you English is terrible. The way they taught us English is terrible. If you go to classes, if you go to school, if you learn with grammar, books, all of that stuff, you can go to classes for years and years and you'll still not get any results, or you'll get very, very limited results. It simply doesn't work. But if you do it right, you can learn to speak English really fast. In a matter of months, you can be fluent. Literally. Anyone can do it if you do it right. I'll show you how. Basically, you just need to do three things. Just three things. This is all language learning is, all right? Forget about all the complicated grammar and vocab and this and that and all. Three things you need to do. Learn words and sentences, mostly sentences, because words are part of sentences. You learn enough sentences, you listen to the language a lot, and you speak the language a lot. That's it. If you do that enough and you do it right, you'll speak English fluently in a matter of months, maybe weeks, depending on how hard you study and you practice it and how much you already knew. But because a lot of you already have a decent base, but just can't really speak, but you can activate it pretty quickly. But that's basically it. Learn a lot of sentences, listen to the language a lot, speak the language a lot. That's all you need to do. And the way you do this is preparing language islands. So, what you need to do is, first of all, write down a list of everything you want to be able to say in English. So, start taking notes of the things you normally talk about. Where do you go? Usually, what do you do? Who do you talk to? The topics you normally talk about. So, situations and also conversation topics. So, write a list of situations and also one of conversation topics. So, sentences you need for meeting people, sentences you need for talking about yourself, talking about your family, talking about your work, sentences to use at work, sentences to use while traveling for work, sentences to use while traveling on holiday, sentences to use while when talking about football, whatever you're into, and sentences that, and this is a little bit more complicated, sentences that you are likely to hear when watching content or listening to content. This is a little bit more complicated, but you can still do it. But the main thing is you need to learn what you are going to use. If you are learning grammar rules and things like that, that's got nothing to do with what a language actually is. You didn't study grammar before you learned to speak your native language. Nobody did. Like, we learned grammar because they made us learn it in school, but we were already fluent in our native language, or languages in some cases. You don't need grammar. You don't need to study any kind of rules, any theory, none of that. Right? Just write down long lists of sentences. So first a list of context, situations, topics, different scenarios. And for this, you need to do some work. This is not, it's easy, but it's work, right? You need to do it. Just take some time, start writing down situations, interactions, topics. And then for each one of those, write as much as you can. You can use AI for this as well. You can write a bunch of sentences about yourself, ask AI for help, and it will ask you a bunch of questions, and you respond to those questions, and you get even more sentences about yourself to learn. And you can do this with any sentence, really, or any topic, really. And that's step one. Just write more and more sentences every day or every week. Just write more sentences to learn. You translate them, so you write them in your native language, not in English. You translate them, and you create audio files. Okay, you translate them with any kind of translator or with AI, and you create audio files with a text-to-speech software, any kind of text-to-speech software. And now you've got text and audio of your own sentences in English. And text-to-speech is pretty good these days. It doesn't sound exactly like a person, but it's pretty close. And now you can do steps 2 and 3, which are listen to English a lot. So you play those audio files while you have your text in front of you, so you understand what you're listening to. So you read and listen at the same time at first, and then you just keep listening while you do other things. I do a lot of listening while I'm working out, for example. Just instead of music, I just listen to whatever language I'm learning. And you also repeat the sentences aloud. You read them aloud, you listen and repeat, and you keep doing this with more and more sentences. Right? Write them, translate them, create audio files, listen to them a lot, say them aloud a lot. And once you've done it with around 1,000 sentences, and you've repeated them aloud enough times, you'll be speaking pretty well, right? Not fully fluent, but pretty well. And if you keep doing it, eventually you'll be fluent. With 2, 3, 4,000 sentences, you'll be having really good conversations in English, right? It's really simple. You just need to do this. There's no secret apart from just learning sentences, listening to them, and repeating them aloud. Of course, you'll have to switch to native speaker content at some point if you want to understand native speakers, because your own sentences translated are much easier to understand than native speaker content. But once you've prepared and learned 1,000 sentences, if you start listening to native speaker content, it won't be that hard to understand, right? You just have to then practice listening to it and understanding it. That's another skill that you need to work on. But for conversation, you just need to do this, right? Prepare sentences, listen to them, say them aloud a lot. That's it.